Hi, in this tutorial I will be installing WordPress with the LAMP stack on my CentOS7. So a LAMP stack is a set of open source software that can be used to create websites and web applications. The process starts when the Apache web server receives requests for web pages from a user's browser. Then the PHP file load the file and execute code contained in the file. We also have the PHP will try to connect to MySQL database management system to get any data that is referenced in the code, such as user information in this web pages. So basically the web pages, so the user information and everything is backed in the MySQL management system. So the LAMP stack typically consists of an operating system, a Linux operating system. In my case, in this tutorial, we are using CentOS7. Also, it consists of Apache. This is the web server, HTTP server that we are using. And we also need MySQL Relational database management system to store the data for the web pages, and PHP programming language. These are used for the dynamic web sites. So this type of system, LAMP stack, is good for small to medium size use or businesses. And here LAMP is just the short for L stand for Linux, A stand for Apache, M stand for MySQL, and P stand for PHP programming language. So on this figure here, as you may see, we do have the user. He's using his web browser and he's giving a request to the server, and using the WordPress. So this is basically the WordPress infrastructure in Linux. So the server consists of an operating system. We are using Linux, and we have the Apache. This is basically where the web the web server does work. PHP for the dynamic websites and codes, and the WordPress use the PHP for that reason. And also we do need a database management system for our WordPress. That's why we are using MySQL. All these applications, all softwares are free, and that's what makes Word installation of WordPress with the LAMP stack is famous. And here the server is responding to the user requests, as we see. So this is basically what we are going to do. So in today's tutorial, I will demonstrate how to work on an installation of these software stack and create a running WordPress. So here the first step we need to do is to SSH to the server, or you can use the terminal on your CentOS and work to install the WordPress on our server. You have to be a root user, and here I'm logged in as a root. And the first step I want to do is to disable the Linux firewall. This tutorial is a basic installation of WordPress, and I'm not going to talk about the firewall. So in order to do that, we can go and type in text editor vi, then / etc /sysconfig /se Linux, and this will open the configuration file for the firewall. So if you see this line here, so it says it's set to enforcing. I'm going to change this to disable. Okay, so now it's set to disabled, and I'm going to click on escape, then colon, then WQ to write and quit. And this should save the file, and we're going to reboot so that the changes take effects on our server. So now I can check by typing se status, and as you see here it says disabled, and this is the firewall is off right now, is disabled. Next, so remember, after rebooting you are in the root, and I'm using the terminal here. So the next step, I'm going to install all the required packages for the LAMP stack, which will host the WordPress site. So I'm going to type in yum, which is the download package manager for CentOS, and I'm going to type in install to install the packages. Then I need the Apache, the PHP, and the PHP dash common space PHP dash MySQL ND, and then space PHP and MB string space PHP GT. We also going to install the MySQL database, which is the Maria. I'm using the Maria database server, and then space. I'm going to type in mod -y to accept the packages and hit on enter. So this will take a few minutes to finish. Okay, so the installation of packages, now it's completed. So the next step after the installation of all packages, I'm going to edit the Apache configuration file by allowing the hypertext access to be used. So I'm going to type in command cd space -i, and then I'm going to allow the override. So I'm going to type in s / allow, so override, then space none / allow, and over, so override all /g, and we close this space and the location of the configuration file for the Apache web server. So httpd config /httpd.config, hit on enter. Okay, so next I want to start the Apache and MySQL server on my CentOS server. So I'm going to type in systemctl command and space start and the name of the service, so the Apache httpd, and I'm going to type in and systemctl start the Maria database, okay. So now we can check and confirm the database and the Apache by we can type in systemctl and status httpd, and it says if you check here the active is running, and also we can check systemctl status Maria database, and it's also successfully active and running. So I also want to test the Apache test page by going to Fire browser such as the Firefox, and using my IP address of this server, the CentOS server. So if you want to check your IP address, type in IP space A, and here if you see number 2, this is interface ENS33, and this is the IP address I want to use to access the Apache web server. So here I'm using my browser. I'm going to type in the IP address that I found for my CentOS server. So 192. So it's 192.168.190.129. And here I see testing 123. It's successful. So my Apache server is successfully running on this machine. So next, for the WordPress, I want to work on my SQL by creating a database for the WordPress, and I'm going to create a user, and I'm going to provide the user with password and give the user privileges to the WordPress database. And it's so I'm going to type in MySQL, and I'm going to hit on enter. So here I'm inside my SQL database management system. So the first command is I'm going to type in create database space, and I'm going to name this database. I'm going to call it WordPress, then semicolon, hit on enter. So it says okay, the query is okay, so the database is created. So we can test by typing the show databases, semicolon, and here I see the WordPress database. Okay, so now I want to create a user. So I'm going to type in grant all. So I'm going to grant all privileges space on, and the on is going to type in the database dot everything inside, so it's going to be star here, and then 2. In the 2 I'm going to specify the user, so it's going to be 2, and I'm going to type in so WordPress, and this is the username, and I'm going to type in @ so the location of this username, it's going to be at localhost. So the username at localhost, and the password, so identified. So identified by, and here I'm going to type in the password. So you can select a very you need to select a very secure password in the real environment. Here is just for testing, and I'm going to hit enter. So here it says created successfully, and now I'm going to exit. So the next step, I'm going to download the WordPress into my CentOS server, and I'm going to extract make directory in the HTML, and then I move the installation file for the WordPress to the web server path. So the first command I'm going to use is curl space -o, capital O. So, and I'm going to specify the website for the WordPress. So WordPress.org / I'm going to type in latest, and I'm going to .tar.gz. So this command is now it's downloading, and this should take a few minutes, depends on your internet speed. So the download is successfully done. Next, I want to type this command. So zx vf space the name of the package that we downloaded .tar .gz, and this command basically we are technically extracting the file that we just downloaded from the WordPress website. Hit on enter, and now it's as you see, these files are extracted. So I'm going to make next step. I'm going to make a directory inside the var www html. Okay, and / hit enter. Okay, so the directories already existed, we don't need to create this. Next, I want to move the installation file of WordPress to the directory, the HTML directory. So move WordPress, okay, and / everything. I'm going to type in the shift star space var / www html, and this should have moved our installation files for the WordPress to the HTML. So next I want to update the permission so that we can upload files through WordPress, and we're going to use the command change owner. So change ownership, and I'm going to type in R. So I'm going to give the ownership to Apache user Apache group space var www / html. Hit on enter, and now we have the permissions. So next, if you remember, we tested the Apache web page by typing our IP address in the browser, Firefox browser. Next, I want to refresh. You can just basically refresh the page, or you can access again using your IP address for the CentOS server to finish the WordPress installation. Then you should see the WordPress installation page there. So here I want to complete my setup for the WordPress. So going back to the browser, you can type in the IP address for your CentOS server, or basically you can type in 192.168 and .190, and this is the IP address, and here is the configuration file for the WordPress to set up. It's wp-admin / and setup, and here you see setup config.php, and here you see the welcome page. Okay, so now I click on let's go, and here you see the database name, we call it WordPress. The username, we also have the username that we created, which is WordPress, the password that you set up for this username, and yes, it's going to be on our localhost, and click on submit. So here I'm going to click on run the installation. It says information needed. Here side title, this is the website title. I'm going to name it WordPress. So I'm going to test. Username, this is going to be WordPress. Password, there is like the auto-generated password, in case you want to use this password. And it says you need to save this password in a secure place. So in just demonstration, I'm going to use the same password for the MySQL database. I'll say here, since it's a weak password, confirm, and this is just for educational purposes. Obviously you need to create a very strong password. Your email, so it's techno. I'm going to use techno config. Next, here you want to, if you want your site to be visible by the search engine like Google, to be indexed. Here, if you want to click on discourage that, or if you want to leave it and it's going to be visible with the search engine, click on install WordPress, and it says here successful. Now I want to log in, and here is going to ask me for the username that I created or the email address with the password. I'm going to log in, and here we go. So this is the main dashboard for the WordPress. Congratulations if you reach this level. Also, I want to mention that if you see a white page, this is to troubleshoot WordPress installation. If you finish all the setup on the terminal and you see a white page on the browser, it could be a problem with the version of the packages. So you have to make sure that the PHP programming language package, it's with the latest work with the latest version of WordPress. In case it's not, you need to make sure that to check the version of your packages, because you are going to run into errors. Okay, so here you see if you want to add a new post, you can choose on your website, like an article or blog, media, comments, appearance, and here we have so many tools here to use. And here we have the appearance on the left side. Here it teaches you, now you can add a title. So now you have so many options to change the themes for your website. You can also buy a domain. So if you want to be go public, you can buy your domain from websites, pay monthly fee or yearly fee, and you can have your own public DNS domain name. And if you click here, you see here the hello world test page. And now if we have themes, dashboard, if we go to themes, you select theme, you can click on mini themes here, or you can add a new theme. Check the live review here. So here this is a sample for a website that you want to create. And also here, if you like this, you can activate and publish. So here you can add your ideas, your blog, contact information, so to build a full website for your needs. And that should be it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you next time. Goodbye.